today to address a pretty key issue of powerlifting, that is competing. And for most people, at some point you're going to do your first meet if you're interested in doing competitive powerlifting, that is. And it can be really daunting and kind of a difficult experience for most people. I know for me it was hard to do, and it was a big change from just being in the gym and being in that environment, and it can be kind of daunting. But I want to go over a few things today that I think are really important in terms of maximizing your enjoyment and also your success in your first meet. I'm going to break it down into kind of three pretty critical issues. The first one is going to be the commands. The second is going to be equipment, and then the third is going to be maximizing your success. So that will involve preparing for your weight class, cutting water, cutting weight, and then also the actual meet day and how to maximize your success on that day and your enjoyment as a result of all that, because I think it's pretty easy to enjoy it if you're also winning. So I hope you enjoyed the video and stick around for all that to come. Thank you. Okay, so about now you're probably wondering how the commands actually work. So for the squat, the first command you'll get will be platform ready. You'll then approach the bar and set up as if you're going to lift. Obviously this is just a gym clip, but it works the same way in a meet. Obviously the only thing I wouldn't be able to use would be headphones. You can't use them when you're lifting in a competition. So you walk the weight out, and then you'll get set, and then you look up to the judge for approval. You have to have your knees locked and be ready. He'll then give you the command squat. You'll do your squat. This one was pretty slow. And then he'll give you the command to rack it. Make sure you wait for that command. That's the biggest rookie error you can make. I've made it before. So the bench is kind of the same. You'll get the command platform ready. You'll then set up, take your position. You can choose to unrack it yourself like I do, or you can have a lift off, usually given by one of the loaders and spotters. You'll then set up, you'll unrack it, the judge will then give you the command start, you'll start the lift, you'll pause on your chest, and then you'll press it back up. He'll then give you the command to rack the weight. The deadlift is pretty simple. They'll give you the platform ready command, you'll go up, you'll approach the bar, you'll lift the weight, and then he'll give you the command to put it back down when the judge sees that you've locked out the weight. That's essentially it, not too complicated. So, now that we've covered, I guess, the easy part of competing, which is the instructions, because if you can't follow instructions, then you probably shouldn't compete in meet. Now let's talk about perhaps a more confusing element of meet preparation, that is equipment. So for that, as you can see, I've already got changed into this t-shirt, which you can also buy on our website, because it's a good representation of something that is like semi-controversial in terms of wearing in competition, because it will be mostly covered up by a singlet, but at the same time it's cotton, so it's perfect for meets because you can chalk it up and get it dirty and it won't like rip under weight and stuff like that, whereas other materials can do. So let me demonstrate some of the equipment that you might need on meet day. So as you can now see, I am wearing a singlet. This one is by Strength Shop. It's a pretty good singlet. It's relatively affordable. It's around, I want to say $30, so it's pretty good, pretty cheap. This is obviously like the mainstay for competing. It's not great, not everyone wants to wear them. They're not particularly flattering for anyone, but it's obviously essential so that judges can judge like whether your butt's coming off the bench, whether you've hit depth, just all simple things like that that you perhaps wouldn't be able to tell as effectively just in shorts and a t-shirt. So let me show you some of the other elements that are pretty important as well. So this is a lifting belt. Most of you who lift will probably know, probably have one of these. This is actually by Lifting Large. So this is IPF approved. I don't know about the other federations, but my opinion on it is kind of, if you're considering competing in powerlifting and you're not really sure what federation, but you think you might want to compete in the IPF, buy everything up to IPF standard, because most federations tend to accept all the IPF approved equipment, and while you might pay a little bit more, at least you have to buy it twice. So this belt's pretty good. It's a lever belt, it's 10mm stick. I think it goes for around, I want to say $50. You can buy this on liftinglarge.com. Also all these products are listed on the recommended product section of the website, so if you want to go there, I'll also link that in the description so you can see. Next up, which is pretty essential, is the knee sleeves. These ones are by SBD. They're really expensive, they're around $90, but honestly they're the best knee sleeves you can buy. These are medium, even though The singlet is a 2XL, and I'm going to compete in the 105s. I previously competed in the 93s. I just like really tight knee sleeves. I feel like it helps just support me. I suck at squatting anyway, so anything I can do to help me is obviously going to be a benefit. Next up, these are the knee sleeves I used before. They're Ray-Ban knee sleeves. These actually have the CrossFit Games logo on there. The reason I have those is because they were on sale, so I thought I'd snag them up. I didn't have knee sleeves before this, so it was a worthwhile investment for me. These are really cheap, but they're also pretty nice. They're good for just keeping your knees warm, and if you buy like a couple sizes down, they're good for elbow sleeves as well, so that's pretty useful. What's next? Okay. Now, wrist wraps. These are the Titan, I forget which ones, like Max RPM wrist wraps. I have the short ones because I don't like super long wrist wraps. I feel like it doesn't add that much support after a point. But these are good wrist wraps. I have orange and black because orange is my favorite color, and they're really supportive. And so they're pretty good. I like to use them just primarily on my heavy days. I also have these Rogue wrist wraps, which are not IPF approved, but I use these just during training because they're a little bit softer and flimsier. So it's kind of nice if I don't need all the support or if I just want something gentle. The Titan ones are IPF approved, and in my opinion they're one of the best you can buy. The other option I would suggest would be like the Gangster wraps. I know that they're super expensive, but they're, from my experience I've used them a couple of times and they're actually really, really nice. So I think if you're torn between two, I would say either the Titan or the Gangster wraps, just depending on like everything else where you buy your equipment from. I mean, it kind of makes sense just to buy it all from one place because you have to pay shipping multiple times and stuff like that. But you can get most of it on Amazon. Next, shoes. So it's important to make sure you wear shoes that are competition approved. These are just the Reebok CrossFit like Olympic shoes. The heel is I think 0.5 inches, which is inside the 1.75 range that is IPF approved. So just make sure those shoes that you're planning on wearing fit inside that. These are pretty good shoes in general. I got them on sale, which is the main reason I got them. I was going to get the Romelios, but $200 is kind of a prohibitive price point. So I just went for something a bit more affordable because not knowing if I would stick with it long term. But I think at some point I will invest in the Romelios, but probably not until I get some more money. So, Then next up, these are the shoes I wear for deadlifting and benching. These are the Reebok CrossFit Light TR low top ones. These orange laces I put in myself. They usually come with black laces. But again, I got this on sale. They're super affordable. I mean, if you don't want to spring for these and you just have a pair of Converse that you like, I would wear them. I wore Converse for my first meet and it was fine. I used to wear them all the time when I'm at home in England and I train, and I don't bring these home, so it's like really no big deal. I wouldn't panic too much about the flat shoes you're going to wear. Just make sure that, again, they're approved by your federation. Just look up the rule sheet. I'll link the IPF one below. I don't know where you can find the other ones, but I'm sure it's pretty accessible. Next up is something that a lot of people might not think about, which you definitely need for your first meet, I would say, is ammonia inhalant tablets. Let me show you. Essentially, they're just little capsules that you pop and they release ammonia, kind of like smelling salts. Just gets you really amped up and fired up for your lift. I think it's good if you're just trying to leave it all on the platform. That's kind of my mindset whenever you meet. So I would definitely consider picking up some of those. I would experiment with it before you do your meet, so don't just like use it on your very last attempt. I've often never done it before because some people like you snip it too deeply, and then like people have been known to pass out and stuff like that, and it can have kind of adverse reactions. Some other things you should probably think about. This Powerade sports mix, really good, especially if you have to cut water weight and you just need electrolytes to get back in for the meet. There's nothing wrong with this stuff. It's like full of calories, full of carbs. It gets you like a lot of energy and gets some electrolytes in, so that can help a lot. Another thing is pre-workout. You definitely need this. You can take anywhere from like 1 to 3 scoops on a meet day, so just make sure you're prepared and you know what you're planning on taking. Other thing, which I'm going to talk about them more later, but also Pop-Tarts, like just take these. You need them. You can't go wrong having more food than you need. You can only go wrong having less food. Like you don't know, unless you've been to the venue before and you know exactly what's available. You need to make sure that you're planning ahead and like getting enough stuff and bringing enough stuff with you that is gonna allow you to be okay. Also, just remember another thing which I completely forgot is long socks. So you need to have these for when you deadlift because they have to come up to your knee. So like in case when you do your deadlift and you like rip open your shin, the blood isn't getting everywhere. So make sure you bring long socks because that's like a #1 rookie error that people forget. Just remember like the main things you need really are your long socks, your singlet and a t-shirt. Like you'll be fine without everything else. Most of it you can borrow. Just have shoes, long socks, singlet and a t-shirt. Make sure those are the first things you put in your bag. And then also the last thing, which is kind of an awkward subject, but I guess it's something that has to be addressed, is the underwear. So this is like another thing which you won't know about unless you read the rule books really intensely. You have to wear briefs. You can't wear boxer briefs or boxers underneath your singlet. I have no idea why this actually is, but for some reason I think it's to do with like it being supportive, because the singlet is just like lycra-y. It's not very supportive or anything. But I guess if you were to wear like compression shorts underneath, it might be more supportive and might give you like a slight advantage. So just make sure you're prepared. Some other things I would suggest is like maybe bring chalk, because some people get really panicky about people putting like talcum powder in the chalk at meets. So maybe bring your own chalk if you have it. Bring talcum powder if that's something that you use when you deadlift heavy. I bring a change of clothes. Like at the end of the day, you're gonna be cold and sweaty and really fed up, and you're not gonna want to sit in the same, smelly clothes you're wearing all day when you're driving home. So just think about stuff like that. Just bring a ton of water. A lot of people always say like, just imagine that the venue you're going to doesn't have anything you need, right? So just plan ahead and bring everything you would need if you were going to the gym or if you're going, for a day out somewhere. So plan accordingly. Another thing which a lot of people don't know about is that some venues charge for spectators. So like if your family are coming, just make sure that they know ahead and that they're okay with like paying $10 to watch you lift. So maybe don't bring like a family of 30 people if you're going to go lift, because it's going to be a lot of money just to watch you lift. If that's important to them, that's fine, but for some people it isn't as important. So I'll go on now to talk about the rest of the things that you kind of need to know about when you're preparing for your first meet. Okay, now let's talk about the day itself. Should be, in theory, actually the easiest part of it. In reality, it can be the most difficult. But I think the reason for that is that it's hard to prepare for in training. It's difficult to have the same experience, the same emotional response that you would get when you're in the gym as you would in the meet, right? When you're in the meet, there's a lot of pressure. You haven't done it before, and it's an interesting and different experience that you might have. So let's talk about some of the ways that you can prepare effectively for a meet. I think the first is obviously get on a good peaking program. You can find one at www.collegestrength.org. We have a really good free program out there that you can use to prepare you for your first meet. I've used that in the past and it's given me pretty good results. But I think it's more geared towards perhaps a beginner or early intermediate style lifter. But having the experience, the response of a meet is difficult when you're in training. So some of the ways that I like to prepare for this is by taking heavier singles in my training. Working up to an RPE 8 or an RPE 9 towards the end of a cycle, and kind of getting a little bit fired up for it. Having a response, an emotional response, and really trying to get in the zone and have that experience. Another great thing to do is to lift with other people. Having other people there, getting them to psych you up, can kind of elicit the same response that you might get at a meet. I think also just preparing, doing the correct weight cuts. So I would suggest for your first meet, you don't need to cut weight. I really just try and get in the weight class that you're in right now, maybe without drinking a little bit of water that you could be in without too much effort. There's some pretty good videos about water cuts that you can find on YouTube. I might make a video about it if that's something people are interested in, but it's relatively straightforward. You just drink a lot of water for a few days out of the meet, and then as you get closer, you decrease the amount of water. Therefore, you basically just flush your body clean. I think it's important to note that you should be maintaining right nutrition. I think from about 2 weeks out from the meet, you really just want to be eating, traditionally healthy foods. So you're eating a lot of like rice, high carb, high grade foods to try and build up your energy for the meet, and just making sure that you're ready. For your first meet, like I said, just don't worry about dieting and cutting water too much, just focus on lifting the most amount of weight that you can, and this can be done through an effective tapering and also effective rest and relaxation, as well as a deload right before the meet. I think on meet day, in terms of your attempt selection, you should, the way I understand is that your first attempt should be something you could do for 3, or around 92% of your max. Your second attempt should then be around 96% of your max, and your third attempt should perhaps be a little PR. But I usually just say my first attempt is going to be something I can do for 3, 92%, and then I'll add on my bench probably about 5 kilos or 10 pounds, and then on my squat about 10 pounds or 20 kilos per jump. And that's the same with, or around between 10 and 20 kilos. I wouldn't really say anything more than that for each attempt, and that's a pretty good scalable way to figure it out. But another way you can do this is just work backwards from what you want your third attempt to be, a realistic third attempt. So maybe 10 or 15 pounds more than your current max. Something you could get comfortably. But I just think for your first meet, just aim to go 9 for 9. Aim to get the most attempts you can and get the highest total you can. You can always build on it. If you enjoy it, it's going to be your first of many probably. So I wouldn't really worry about how good you do on your first meet. Just get the experience under your belt and really try and learn from that. Another thing going in with that is that meets are really a great opportunity to network and just meet other people that you wouldn't always get to meet. I really enjoyed my first meet because I met a lot of people, really nice people, and they all helped me through it, and it was just made me want to continue to do powerlifting. I mean, you can be that guy in the corner. I've definitely been that guy in the corner, but also in between attempts and when I'm warming up, I'm talking to other people, I'm networking, putting myself out there and just trying to enjoy the occasion. Get hyped up when it's your attempt, but don't worry about it too much when it's not, You have to relax and just enjoy the day as much as you can, and you can't do this if you're pacing around and just being in the zone. Although that is good for some people, and when you get to a high level, maybe that's something you need to embrace. But for the most part, it's relatively straightforward. Just also make sure you're taking a lot of food with you. Just stuff you can easily eat. Like I like to eat Pop-Tarts. I love Pop-Tarts, man. Who doesn't? I get like a pack of 4 and I just eat them. I like eat some candy. But then also, after you weigh in, I would suggest eating, just going to a fast food restaurant or going to something you know you can digest quickly and it's not going to mess you up too much, and just eating that to try and get some more energy in as well. That's another thing, like weigh-ins are usually, in IPF they're like 2 hours, in other federations they can be 24 hours. So make sure you look that up and find out all about that. I'm not going to talk about that too much because I don't really know a lot about that, but I would suggest that just look that up, find out, so you know what you're doing when it comes down to that. But I mean, apart from that, it's not super complicated. Just make sure you know what you're doing, make sure you're looking up the rules, and you understand fully what the expectations are of you. I hope that this whole video has served to outline everything you need to know. If you have any more questions, feel free to send me an email, collegestrength@gmail.com, and I can talk to you more about this. If you're interested in getting coaching for your first meet, you can check out our website. All the links will be in the description below. But again, thank you for watching, and I hope this